Listen closely. Sometimes your light doesn't just brighten a room, it exposes the shadows someone is desperately trying to hide. And their reaction to your energy tells you everything they never had the courage to say. Let me take you into a truth we rarely speak out loud. Your energy is powerful, so powerful that it can uncover the parts of someone they've spent years pretending didn't exist. I want you to hear me clearly. When your presence makes someone uncomfortable, it is not a reflection of your flaws. It is a reflection of their unhealed pieces reacting to your wholeness. There are people who will meet you and instantly feel threatened, not because you attacked them, not because you disrespected them, but because you showed up fully. Your authenticity, your confidence, your courage, it exposes the fragility they try to cover with bravado, charm, or silence. And the moment your energy walks into their life, every mask they've been wearing begins to crack. They don't fear you. They fear what they feel around you. They fear the truth you unintentionally reveal. They fear that next to your strength, their insecurities no longer have a place to hide. And so they pull back, they blame you, they project. They call you too much, too intense, too deep, too honest, too emotional. Not because you are, but because being around you reminds them of the work they still haven't done. Your energy didn't break them. It exposed them. There's a moment, quiet but unmistakable, when you begin to feel the shift. You're talking, laughing, sharing, simply being yourself, and suddenly their eyes change. It's subtle, but the energy drops. They become tense, distracted, almost defensive. And you start wondering, did I say something wrong? Did I do too much? No, you didn't do anything wrong. What actually happened is this: your truth touched a place inside them they've avoided for years. People who fear their own vulnerability struggle in the presence of someone who embraces theirs. When you speak with honesty, they feel exposed. When you move with purpose, they feel small. When you show emotional depth, they feel fragile. They aren't reacting to you. They're reacting to the mirror your energy holds up. Your presence becomes a reflection they can't control. And control is how they keep their insecurities quiet. You see, some people rely on emotional distance as armor. They master the art of pretending they're unbothered, unaffected, unshaken. But the moment they meet someone with genuine emotional power, someone who leads with intention instead of ego, everything they've buried rises to the surface. Suddenly, the bravado feels fake, the silence feels cowardly, the detachment feels empty, and they feel revealed. So instead of leaning in, they retreat, not because they don't value you, but because they don't know how to sit with the discomfort you awaken. You didn't overwhelm them. You awakened them. There's a heaviness they carry, one they've learned to hide behind sarcasm, routine, or emotional distance. And when your energy enters their world, that heaviness suddenly becomes impossible for them to ignore. You bring clarity where they've lived in confusion, honesty where they've relied on avoidance, presence where they've used detachment as protection. Your energy doesn't ask for their truth. It pulls it out. That's why they start acting differently. Their tone shifts. Their patience shrinks. Their responses become shorter, colder, more careful. It's not anger. It's exposure. They feel seen in a way they never asked for but secretly needed. You notice how they hesitate before speaking, how they avoid eye contact, how they measure every word. They used to be comfortable in their emotional hiding places until you walked in with the kind of light that makes shadows impossible to maintain. Your courage makes them question their excuses. Your self-respect makes them question their habits. Your growth makes them question their stagnation. Your emotional intelligence makes them question their emotional immaturity. And questioning themselves is something they've spent years avoiding. So they do what fragile egos do. They retreat, they shut down, they create distance. They'll even try to convince themselves that you're the problem, because blaming you is easier than confronting the weakness they've tried to bury. But remember this, your energy didn't create their insecurity. It simply illuminated what was already there. There's a truth you must accept. Some people don't fear losing you. They fear being truly seen by you. Your energy carries an honesty that strips away their defenses, and that honesty feels dangerous to someone who has lived behind emotional walls. They aren't used to being understood on a level deeper than their words. They aren't used to someone noticing what they try to hide. And suddenly, you become the one person who can read the emotions they've spent their entire life avoiding. This is why they pull away, not out of disinterest, but out of exposure. Your empathy isn't soft to them, it's threatening. Your insight doesn't comfort them, it confronts them. Your presence unravels the armor they've worn, not because you're trying to break them open, but because the truth inside you calls to the truth inside them, and they don't know how to answer. When you care deeply. When you speak directly. When you show up fully. And full presence is intimidating to someone who only knows how to offer half of themselves. It forces them to face a question they never wanted to confront. What if I'm not enough? Instead of leaning into your strength, they withdraw to protect their weakness. Instead of being inspired by your authenticity, they feel exposed by it. And instead of embracing the connection you offer, they retreat to the comfort of their familiar emotional hiding place. But hear me, their retreat is not your rejection. It's their fear reacting to your truth. There's something sacred about the way your energy works. You don't force anything. You don't demand anything. You simply exist in your truth, and that truth carries a vibration that shakes loose the things people try to bury. When someone's inner world is built on shaky foundations, ego, denial, control, your grounded presence feels like an earthquake they aren't prepared to withstand. And here's the part many people misunderstand. Your intention was never to challenge them. Your intention was never to expose them. Your intention was simply to be yourself. But some people experience your authenticity as confrontation. Not because you're confrontational, but because living honestly requires a level of self-awareness they've never practiced. When you speak with confidence, they feel their uncertainty. When you express your feelings openly, they feel their emotional disconnect. When you set boundaries, they feel their lack of self-respect. You become a mirror they didn't ask for, reflecting back everything they avoid acknowledging. So they react with distance. They make excuses. They retreat into silence. They hide behind work, distractions, or coldness because facing you means facing themselves, and they don't have the emotional tools to do that yet. But let me tell you something powerful. Their struggle with your energy is not a burden you need to fix. It's not a wound you're responsible for healing. It's not a weight you're meant to carry. Their reaction is about their readiness, not your worth. There comes a point when your presence becomes a truth they can no longer outrun. You're not dramatic. You're not demanding. You're not confrontational. You're simply real. And realness is something they've never learned how to stand next to without feeling their own emotional fractures tremble beneath the surface. Your energy carries a calm intensity. You don't shout. You don't chase. You don't beg. You simply exist with a sense of clarity that unsettles anyone who lives in confusion. You carry a steadiness that exposes the shakiness in others. You hold yourself with a dignity that challenges people who rely on avoidance to feel safe. And when someone sees that level of grounded strength, two things happen inside them. They admire you and they fear you. They want to get closer and they want to run. Because being near you means losing the ability to hide behind half-truths and emotional shortcuts. You make them aware of the gap between who they pretend to be and who they truly are. You make them see the emotional courage they have not yet built. You make them recognize the weakness they've tried to disguise with silence or detachment. And the human ego doesn't like being revealed. So it reacts, it distances, it protects itself. Not because you're wrong, not because you're too much, but because your energy quietly whispers the truth they aren't ready to hear. You didn't intimidate them. Their unhealed parts did. Now, here's the subtle but important truth. The discomfort they feel around your energy is not a weakness in you. It's a mirror of their unfinished inner work. You might feel moments of guilt, wondering if your confidence, your enthusiasm, or your authenticity somehow pushes them away. But take a deep breath and hear me clearly. Their reaction is not your responsibility. When someone feels threatened by your energy, it's because your presence forces them to confront what they've ignored. Insecurities, unhealed wounds, and emotional vulnerabilities they've buried deep. Your ladder might feel like too much, your ambition too sharp, your empathy too revealing. And instead of engaging with their own emotions, they instinctively retreat because hiding feels safer than confronting the truth. This is where boundaries become sacred. You are not here to dim your light to make someone else comfortable. You are not here to edit your energy so they feel safe. You are here to fully inhabit your truth, even if it shakes the people around you. Remember, their discomfort is temporary. Your energy is enduring. Their insecurities are loud, but your authenticity is resilient. The moment they try to pull you down or distance themselves, it is not a reflection of your value. It is a reflection of what they cannot face in themselves. So continue shining, continue speaking, continue showing up, because every ounce of your energy has the power to awaken truths that some have been too afraid to see. Here's a reality we often overlook. People who are intimidated by your energy don't usually react with overt aggression. They react with subtle sabotage. It could be a cutting remark masked as a joke, a cold shoulder disguised as business, or a silent withdrawal that leaves you questioning yourself. And it's exhausting because you start to doubt your own instincts. But this is precisely the moment to trust yourself even more. Your intuition is powerful. Your perception is accurate. That subtle discomfort you notice, that's the signal your energy is pressing against someone's hidden fragility. And when you recognize it, you reclaim control, you stop apologizing for existing and start observing the patterns instead. Understand this, your light will always illuminate what others try to bury. And it's not malicious, it's inevitable. When someone's inner weakness meets your unwavering energy, there's a clash. It's the friction between authenticity and pretense, courage and fear, honesty and avoidance. And in that friction, the truth surfaces. Some people will attempt to explain their reactions. Some will deny the tension. Some will even accuse you of being the source of discomfort. But their words are just echoes of their inner turmoil. The truth remains, you are not the problem. Your energy is a mirror, reflecting back the parts of themselves they've tried to hide. And here's the gift in all of this. When you see their reactions clearly, you learn to protect your energy. Honor your presence and embrace your full self without compromise. Here's a truth that will set you free. When your energy exposes someone's inner weakness, it's not your job to fix them, convince them, or carry their emotional burdens. This is where most people get lost. They think their light should be gentle enough to soothe every insecurity around them. But in reality, your energy is meant to illuminate, not accommodate. You will meet people who resist your brilliance. They may feel overwhelmed by your confidence, unsettled by your authenticity, or threatened by your emotional depth. And instead of celebrating your presence, they may respond with criticism, withdrawal, or even passive aggression. But make no mistake, their response is not about you. It's about what they cannot face in themselves. When your energy triggers someone else's discomfort, it's a sacred moment of clarity. It shows you exactly who can sit with you in truth and who cannot. It teaches you to value your own boundaries and honor your own emotional space. Your energy deserves respect, and when it's met with resistance, it's not a personal failure. It's a natural filter, separating those who are ready to grow from those who are still hiding. So stop apologizing for being vibrant, bold, or unapologetically yourself. Stop minimizing your emotions to make others comfortable. Stop doubting your worth because someone else's insecurities are reacting to your presence. The strongest lesson here is this: your energy is a gift. Never dim it for anyone who fears its power. By now, you must understand this. Your energy is magnetic, and its magnetism is not neutral. It will draw the right people toward you and simultaneously reveal the weakness in those who are not ready for your light. And that revelation is uncomfortable, not for you, but for them. When someone's insecurities surface in your presence, it is a reflection of their inner conflict, not a reflection of your value. You might feel tempted to soften yourself, to tone down your laughter, your ambition, your passion, but doing so would be a disservice to the very essence of who you are. Every time you dim your light to make someone else comfortable, you lose a piece of yourself, and the world loses the full force of your energy. Recognize that the reactions you witness, the withdrawal, the defensiveness, the subtle manipulation, are not attacks on you. They are the echoes of a person confronting their own limitations. And while it may sting to see it, the clarity it brings is invaluable. It shows you who can rise with you, who can reflect your authenticity, and who will resist growth because they are not yet ready to face themselves. Your energy is not meant to placate anyone. It is meant to illuminate, inspire, and catalyze transformation, sometimes in yourself, sometimes in others. And those who cannot handle it are simply not in alignment with your path. Embrace this truth. Your energy is a force of clarity. It exposes, it challenges, and it awakens. And that is exactly as it should be. Here is the final truth I want you to carry with you. Your energy is unapologetically powerful, and its purpose is not to fit neatly into someone else's comfort zone. It is here to reveal, awaken, and elevate, and sometimes that means it will make others uncomfortable. That discomfort is not your burden. It is their invitation to face their own shadows. When your light exposes someone's inner weakness, it is a mirror showing them what they have hidden from themselves. And their reaction, whether retreat, defensiveness, or projection, is not about you. It is about their fear, their insecurity, and their resistance to growth. You are not responsible for their work. You are responsible for your truth. This is why boundaries matter. This is why self-respect matters. This is why you must protect your energy fiercely. Stand in your presence without apology. Speak your truth without hesitation. Shine your light without compromise. Because your energy has the power to transform, not by changing anyone, but by holding space for authenticity, courage, and love. Remember, the world does not need you to dim yourself to make others comfortable. The world needs the full expression of who you are. And those who cannot handle your energy are not meant to walk beside you. They are merely passing through. So step forward with courage. Radiate your power. Hold your boundaries. Trust your instincts. And never forget your energy is sacred. Your authenticity is unstoppable. And your light will always illuminate what is true. This is the final truth. You are enough. Your energy matters. And you are exactly as you are meant to be.